It all began on a 10th Sunday morning. The normal quiet Njoro Molo road turned into a scene of chaos.
Richard Otieno, alias Molo president, his body carried on top of a car. The protesters marched with Otieno's body from Elbagon Sub-County Hospital, making their first stop at Elbagon Police Station, just meters away from where the murder occurred.
As enraged residents took matters into their own hands, they blocked the roads with boulders, lit massive bonfires, and stormed the local mortuary. But their actions didn't stop there. In a shocking act of defiance, they removed a body from the mortuary and paraded it through the streets, their anger and frustration on full display for everyone to see. The body was that of Richard Otieno, a man many knew as the Molo president. His story is one of tragedy and unanswered questions. On Saturday night, just outside his home and barely 200 meters from Elbagon police station, Otieno was ambushed by unknown attackers wielding an axe. The brutal assault ended his life, but the mystery surrounding it was just the beginning. Who attacked Otieno? Why did they target him? And how could such a violent act happen so close to a police station without any intervention? These questions now hang over heavy on the community, fueling both their grief and their outrage. I'm Maxwell Ocheng, and today we're uncovering the events that led to the tragic death of Richard Otieno. This is a story of pain, anger, and the desperate demand for justice in a community that refuses to stay silent. To truly grasp the events that led to Richard Otieno's tragic end, we need to step back a little bit and understand his journey. Born in December 1992 in Ololongoi, Narok County, Otieno grew up surrounded by hardship and injustice. He witnessed how locals who didn't align with the ruling government often suffered, an experience that shaped his deep sense of justice and community. The seventh-born son of Apollo Otieno and Salome Juma, Richard pursued a diploma in social work and community development, equipping himself with the tools to make a difference. But his impact wasn't just academic. He threw himself wholeheartedly into the lives of the people around him. Otieno was more than just a community worker. He was a man on a mission. Whether it was his time, money, skills, or talent, he gave freely to help those in need. From advocating for better services to lending a helping hand, he worked tirelessly to improve the lives of residents in Elbagon and Molo. To many, he wasn't just a social worker, he was a symbol of hope and a voice for the voiceless. This deep connection to the community and his unwavering commitment to justice made him a local hero. Richard Otieno's impact on his community wasn't just through words, it was through action. Using his social media connections, he rallied friends and well-wishers to raise funds giving needy children a chance at education. His charisma and ability to speak fluent Kikuyu made him a beloved figure in the community.
Na marafiki wa mzee wetu Ndongo, Bwana asifiwe. Bwana asifiwe tena. Kama unaniona nipungie mkono useme amina. Bwana asifiwe. Unajua kuna candidate wa MC kwa amesimama hapa akaongea Kikuyu mingi. Mimi sijui Kikuyu, mimi ni Mjaluo. Na ni hamare twajitago Richard Otieno, kuma wa Rufaga, Ushero wa Rufaga, Idono wa Rufaga, na Adono wa Rufaga. Bwana asifiwe.
During public gatherings, he always spoke in the local language, delivering powerful messages that resonated deeply with the people. It was this connection that earned him the affectionate title, the President of Molo. For Otieno, giving back wasn't just an obligation, it was personal. His family and friends often said his big heart for the community was born out of his own struggles. Growing up in poverty, he knew firsthand what it meant to lack opportunities. After finishing class 8, his dreams of joining high school were almost crushed when his parents couldn't afford the fees. After struggling years in high school, He faced the same hurdle when it came to joining college, but fate smiled on him. Molo MP Kuria Kimani stepped in, sponsoring his education through the constituency bursary scheme. It was this lifeline that allowed Otieno to study social work and community development, a field that would later define his life's purpose. Otieno's journey from a struggling child to a community leader wasn't just inspiring. It was a testament to resilience, hope, and power of giving back. After forging deep connections with the local community, Richard Otieno felt ready to take his activism to the next level, politics. In 2022, he threw his heart into the ring, vying for the Elbagon ward representative seat under the Usawa party. Although he lost the election, Otieno wasn't one to back down from a challenge. He remained vocal, active, and optimistic, often hinting to friends and followers that he'd make another run for the seat in 2027. His political ambitions, however, were not without complications. A strong-willed activist, Otieno often spoke out against what he saw as failures in leadership. Initially, a close ally of Molo MP, Kuria Kimani, the relationship began to fray when Otieno started criticizing the status quo.
Nimejaribu ama sijajaribu? Si nimejaribu hii maneno? Na mimi ndiye yule kijana ambaye mliona kwa TV mara mingi hapa Molo akiwa na shiko anawekwa ndani, anatolewa ndani wakati ile maneno ya Gen Z ilikuwa. Na mimi ndio ulisikia mheshimiwa wenu Kuria Kimani akisema niye ni dai ya guko niweko ndani. Wakati ya ile maneno mingi si mnakumbuka?
He openly voiced concern about the lack of development in the region, the exclusion of youth from key decision-making processes, and other pressing issues affecting residents. Social media became his battleground, where he passionately highlighted the struggles of ordinary citizens and called out local leaders for inaction. The rift between Otieno and the MP deepened when Kuria supported the impeachment of the then Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. Otieno took to his platform to openly criticize the lawmaker, a move that didn't sit well with those in power. He also didn't hold back when locals raised concerns about healthcare challenges, including issues with the Social Health Insurance Fund and the need to strengthen healthcare services in the constituency. On every issue that mattered to the community, Otieno's voice rang loud and clear. But his outspokenness came at a cost. As his influence grew, so did his list of enemies. Powerful political figures began to see Otieno not just as a critic, but as a threat. His refusal to stay silent and his willingness to challenge authority made him a target. The threats started pouring in, warnings to back off or face dire consequences. Otieno didn't shy away from sharing these threats publicly on social media, a reflection of his fearless character, but also a grim foreshadowing of what was to come. The tragic day began like any other. A Saturday evening, Otieno joined other locals to watch a football match in Elbagon. It was one of his favorite pastimes, and as always, he seemed at ease among the people he cared so much about. The game ended late, and around midnight, he decided to head home. Like many others in the area, he took a boda ride. The ride was uneventful, and he arrived at the gate of his home safely. After getting off the motorcycle, he called his wife to let her know that he had arrived and asked her to open the gate. She stepped out to do so, but noticed the gate was already open. Assuming nothing was amiss, she went back inside, expecting Otieno to follow her shortly. Minutes passed and Otieno didn't come in. Concerned, his wife stepped out again to check on him. What she found was a scene of horror. Just outside the gate, her husband lay lifeless. Unknown assailants had attacked Otieno moments after he had been dropped off. Armed with an axe, they struck him on the back of the head, unaliving him instantly. The attack sent shockwaves through the community. How could such a brutal act occur in a place Otieno had dedicated his life to improving? The questions came fast and furious. Who are these assailants? Was this a random act of violence, or had Otieno's activism and political ambitions made him a target? To the residents of Elbagon and Molo, Otieno was more than just a man. He was a symbol of hope, a leader who stood for justice and fairness. His death wasn't just a personal loss for his family, it was a blow to the entire community. The outrage that followed was a reflection of the love and respect the people had for him. The outrage that followed was a reflection of the love and respect the people had for him and their demand for answers. Tensions in Molo and Elbagon reached a boiling point the Sunday following Richard Otieno's murder. The killing, which took place just 200 meters from Elbagon police station, ignited outrage among residents, who accused authorities of failing to curb the rising insecurity in the area. The frustrations and grief boiled over as angry locals stormed the morgue where Otieno's body was being kept. They carried his body in a dramatic march to Elbagon police station, demanding answers. The police, however, offered no immediate explanation, only promising to investigate the matter thoroughly. Unsatisfied with the vague assurances, the crowd grew more determined, shifting their protest to the residence of their Member of Parliament. Many residents believed the MP could have been involved given the history of political tensions and threats Otieno had shared publicly. Now picture this: an outspoken activist who dared to challenge bad governance receives death threats. Now picture this: an outspoken activist who dared to challenge bad governance receives death threats, is allegedly attacked once by individuals claiming to work for a politician, and when he refuses to back down, ends up dead, under what officials are calling mysterious circumstances. It is a story that seems all too familiar, and one that has left the community both fearful and furious. Amid the uproar, the Directorate of Criminal Investigation Headquarters stepped in to take over the case 2 days after protest erupted. Led by Homicide Director Martin Nguto, a specialized team of detectives visited the scene of the crime, where Otieno was. The investigation began with a careful examination of the area, piecing together what might have transpired that night. The detectives also met with Otieno's grieving family, assuring them of thorough and impartial investigation. They vowed to bring the killers to justice and uncover the truth behind the threats Otieno had been receiving in the weeks leading up to his death. The homicide team would mainly focus on tracking down 3 unknown individuals who allegedly followed Otieno home just 2 days before the attack. Additionally, investigators are expected to scrutinize the timeline of events on the night he was, the pattern of threats against him, and any potential links to political figures who may have felt threatened by his activism. The postmortem, scheduled to take place within the week, will also play a critical role in the investigation, shedding light on the exact circumstances of Otieno's death. For now, the community waits anxiously for answers, while the memory of Richard Otieno, an activist who fought for justice until his last breath, remains etched in their hearts. As the dust settles on the protest and the detectives piece together the puzzle, one question remains: who silenced Richard Otieno and why? Was this the price he paid for speaking truth to power, or is there a deeper conspiracy at play? The answers lie hidden in the shadows for now. Nairobi Insight.